So obviously the last time you played Illinois, you were a missing hunter. So I guess how much of that tape is valuable versus, all right, we've got to have a completely new game plan.
No, I think it's all extremely valuable. I mean, we battled our butts off that game, and we were, I want to say at the maybe 6 or 8 under minute mark, it was a possession of tying or going ahead at one point. So, it's all very valuable. Doing a lot of the similar things that they were doing before, but their emphasis, is still, being able to get the ball inside to the big fella, and obviously, surrounding them with guys that can make shots. So the challenge is the challenge, and we'll do our best to prepare.
Thanks.
Move over to Michael Cohen from the Detroit Free Press.
Hey, Saddi. Obviously, the game the other night was a big success, and Phil talked about sort of the communication and some of the adjustments that were made. I guess from your perspective, why do you think that the changes that you guys made to the communication in terms of who was relaying the messages, why did that work so well, and how do you keep it going now if you can?
Well, I believe our staff just has great synergy, amongst us, and Phil did a tremendous job of leading us. And our guys did a tremendous job of following the game plan that evening. And that's really how we've been wired, since day one. And Coach Jawan has put us all in positions to be successful as coaches, as players. That's, we have that mentality, we try to practice what we preach, and, no different, next man up. It applies to our staff as well.
Next, we'll move over to Zach Shaw from Michigan Insider.
Saddi, the numbers have suggested you guys are doing a much better job at limiting three-point attempts defensively. With Illinois, they have guys who can really go off from three. I guess what have you seen in that development, and how important is that to this defense being successful overall?
Well, it's always been a emphasis for us, as long as I can remember of myself being around here. And then obviously, these last few seasons, just really protecting that 3-point line and doing as much as we can with contesting shots, whether it's 2s or 3s. So again, a lot of it is guys being dialed in to the scouting report, trying to take away actions of our opponents. And that's really the gist of it.
We are open, everybody. Anybody got anything? Coach, can you kind of talk about how important it is to have a 4-game stretch at home where you guys have only played 2 games, no more than 2 games in a row?
Yeah, I mean, it's an ideal situation, for the scenario that we're in as it relates to finishing our season. We know we still have work to do as it relates to, trying to get as many wins to put us in position to be in position, as we like to say. And we have a high level schedule. This is a league where there's no night offs, and to be able to finish our last 4 out of 5 games at home, even with the challenge, is something that we really look forward to and really embrace. So, but we know we got a tough opponent in Illinois coming in this Sunday, and so we will do our best to prepare and get our guys mentally and physically ready to go battle and win that game.
We'll move over to Alejandro from Michigan Insider.
Saddi, after the game against Rutgers, Phil Martelli spoke very positively about you and Howard Eisley. I'm curious if you heard those comments and what your reaction was to what he said about you two both being future head coaches.
Yeah, I mean, I heard him, and that speaks to Phil and who Phil is. He's been a great colleague, a great mentor, a great friend throughout our 3 years here. But again, I think, he definitely, it's definitely a collective effort, and as much as we appreciate, the soundbite from Phil, you know, we're all hands on deck around here, and we're going to do everything we can to support Coach Jawan. We're going to do everything we can to support Coach Phil in his role in the interim. And we're definitely doing everything we can to keep as seamless a transition as we can for our players until we get back to whatever, you know, the normalcy of Coach Jawan coming back. But, you know, that's our job. Like, that's what we're hired to do. We're hired to do our jobs and do it well. And, you know, like I said, to start, we just have great synergy within our staff, and you know, hopefully that was reflective the other night.
Coach, we'll move back to Michael from the Free Press.
Hey, Saddi, there was that stretch in the middle of February where you guys just had game after game after game, you know, 4 and 7 days and things like that. It seemed like at the beginning of that stretch, there was a little bit of an effort to try and manage some minutes for guys if possible. But then toward the end of that stretch, you know, plus with the suspensions, the starters have had to play, you know, 38, 39 minutes a game. And I guess I was just curious how you think fatigue levels are over the course of the season, and what are the things that those guys do in between games to try and make sure they can get back to as close to 100% as possible?
Well, I think if you talk to anybody in their program right now, there's some level of mental and physical fatigue, right? But, you know, we're in the home stretch of the regular season. So rest, recovery, mobility, our health and wellness team, Chris Williams and John Sanderson have done a tremendous job in their roles of getting our guys and keeping our guys ready for games. So, you know, I mean, this is what we're wired for, right? Like, this is what you prepared all summer, all spring, all fall, and all year, you know, to be in position to win games late in the season and put yourself in position for postseason play. So, you know, we're going to continue to prepare on the court, and then also take that same attitude in preparing our bodies and our minds off the court through our recovery.
We'll move back to Andrew from MLive.
Saddi, I know the game isn't all about scoring, but I guess speaking specifically about offense, like you guys know what you're going to get from Hunter and Eli. They've been so consistent. But, you know, some of the other guys, it's kind of up and down as far as the points. Is it fair to say you'd like a little more consistency from, you know, a third or fourth guy, you know, down the stretch here?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the key word on the head, the consistency, right? And when we're shooting the ball the way we shot the other night, we're really tough, you know, because it adds another element to our team, you know, on both sides of the ball, which makes us hard to beat. And so, you know, whether we're hitting shots from threes, whether we're attacking the paint and getting scoring through our paint touches, you know, we do need that level of consistency, and it's not going to come from the same guy every night, and that's okay, you know, because these guys do a tremendous job of working individually on their game, as well as, you know, what we do through practice. So we do need guys to step up at this time of the year with consistent play.
Do you think you're more likely to get that on this roster, given that you got 2 freshman starters, you know, Kobe and Frankie come off the bench as freshmen? Like, there's guys that have, you would think, I guess, you know, more of a ceiling than, you know, the seniors, say.
Yeah. Well, you know, we always talk about outliers at this time of the year,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we need 1 or 2 outliers to step up. And again, it's not going to be the same 1 or 2 guys game in and game out. But what we are confident is in their preparation that they've done going into each and every game. And like I said, these guys work hard, not just during practice, but they also, you know, are in their own time, you know, sharpening their craft to be ready when their names are called.
Thanks.
Move over to James Hawkins from the Detroit News.
Hey, Saddi, I know for Coach Martelli, it's kind of bittersweet circumstances that have kind of led to him having to take over as acting head coach. I guess just what have you seen from him since Monday, and just kind of how he's handled everything and guided the team since then?
Phil is the legend. Like, that's like, that's what he does, you know, is yes, the circumstances were not ideal. But to Phil's credit, this isn't his first rodeo, and he stepped right in very seamlessly. And it wasn't, I don't even think it was an adjustment for any of us, because again, one of the things that's great for and working with Coach Juwan is that he really empowers us as assistants to coach. And so the guys are used to hearing our voices. Their guys are used to hearing our voices in leadership roles in different parts of practice or games and whatnot. So I don't think it was as much of a adjustment as others might think. But when you've been doing it as long as Phil Martelli has been doing it, as the old saying, it's just like getting on the bike and pedaling again. And I think Phil did a great job in leading us the other night. And I know that and am confident in his leadership over these next couple of weeks until we can get our big dog back sitting in that seat.
I guess in the aftermath of everything that happened on Sunday, do you get the sense that that whole incident maybe brought the team closer together?
You hope it does. I mean, if there's is definitely an opportunity for either things to, go either kind of way. And to our guys' credit, we were locked in. Guys were definitely committed to staying the course. And we know we have work to do, and nobody's going to feel sorry for us. So, and nor do we feel sorry for ourselves. So, again, we're wired to show up to work the next day and do our job. And that's what we're going to continue to do.
We'll go back to Zach from the Michigan Insider.
Saddi, I'd love to get a little perspective from you on Caleb's season so far. That certainly there's been ups and downs, and then maybe the comfort and assertiveness that he showed the other day.
Yeah, and Caleb has definitely grown, as the season has gone on, and you expect it. Like every first year guy is going to have the ebbs and flows of the season. So, as long as we're not freaking out as a staff, that's going to help him stay balanced, in who he is and what he believes about himself in terms of confidence. I mean, the kid plays, 30 something minutes a game, and he's had some great nights and he's had some, not so great night, but that's basketball. All right. And that's okay. But what we can hang our hat on is that the dude comes in and works every day. He's been committed to the growth mindset. And when you do that, he's put himself in position to have nights like he did the other night. And, we're however many games into the season now. So like he's got some wear and tear underneath his belt now that, hopefully that consistency that Andrew talked about earlier, reigns through. And so we're excited, we're excited for him and all the other guys on our team as we go down this home stretch.
We'll move back to Michael from the Free Press with another one.
Hey, Saddi. Illinois has lost 4 games since Big Ten play kind of really started in early January, and 3 of those losses were games when Kofi wasn't able to make it 30 minutes due to foul trouble. Is making him work defensively just as important to stopping him as it is trying to defend him straight up on the other end of the floor?
No question. I mean, he's such a great player that if you don't make him work on the defensive end, then you're just, you're putting yourself in a bad position on the offensive end because he is so dominant down there. And so, yeah, anytime we got a lot of great players in this league. It was funny because I was watching the game last night and they're all trying to figure out who's going to be the Big Ten Player of the Year. Well, shoot, just make it Cole, because all of those guys have a reason to have their name called for that honor. But going back to your question, with elite level guys like Kofi, you really got to make him work on both ends of the floor.
Thank you.
We'll go back to James from the News.
Hey, Saddi, I know you guys have a busy stretch coming up and don't know if we'll have availability before the final home game and senior night, but I just wanted to ask something about Adrian. I know his career hasn't unfolded maybe as he has hoped, and I mean, plenty of guys in his position would have looked to transfer, go elsewhere. I guess just how has he handled all that, and I guess what's it say about him that he's kind of stayed here and stuck it out?
I mean, I think you just said it. Like, the kid has shown a tremendous amount of resilience about himself and throughout his career. And, he's had a great attitude in practice, a great attitude in the locker room with his teammates. You never see him down. You never see him pouting. And, everybody's role is different, but his impact that he leaves in this program, the kid he has a Big Ten championship underneath his belt. He's been to the NCAA tournament. So, he has all the respect for me and how he's handled his experience. And I think there would be worse things to say, to be able to walk away and say I have a degree from the University of Michigan and a couple of Big Ten championships and banners from teams that I've played on hanging, that, 10, 20, 30 years from now, when he comes back for a reunion, he's able to look in the rafters and look at the impact that he's had in this program.
Right. You kind of just touched on, I mean, people outside the team, they might just see he doesn't play much and assume he doesn't make much of a difference. But I mean, could you maybe just shed some light on what he's been able to do behind closed doors and maybe the difference he's made for the program during his time here?
Yeah, I mean, whether it's, just being that veteran leader in the locker room, whether it's being a guy who's helping out our scout team, you're not going to find a better shooter, that you can replicate some of these guys, like a Plummer coming up this weekend. So he gives us an opportunity to win games. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, right? That's the all-in mentality. And like I said, everybody's role is different, but the contribution remains the same and the impact remains the same of the end goal.
Coach, I think that's going to do it. But before we go, we just want to know, how have you been able to balance coaching and doing everything that you do with the pit gymnastics updates coming on your phone?
It's been a challenge, but it's been very exciting to be able to watch my daughter and her teammates at Pitt. They're having a tremendous season. They actually compete tonight at Texas Women's and LSU. So I think she's really excited about that. And, hopefully I'll be able to see her live and in color, but between my phone, my iPad, the computer, or some live stream, when she's competing, I'm trying to get as many updates from my wife as I can if I'm not watching it live. So I appreciate that question.